Welcome to our channel. Today we're taking you on an incredible journey through the life of Queen Victoria, a queen who ruled over an empire where the sun never set. From her early struggles as a young princess to her powerful reign of an entire era, we'll explore her life, her love story, her challenges, and her lasting legacy. So sit back and let's dive into the remarkable story of Queen Victoria. Victoria was born on 24th of May 1819 at Kensington Palace, London, to Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, and Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. She was the only child of the Duke and Duchess of Kent. Her parents married in 1818, and her father was the fourth son of King George III, making her fifth in line to the British throne at birth, where a succession crisis following the death of Princess Charlotte in 1817 pressured Victoria's father and his brothers to marry and have heirs. After her father's death in January 1820 and the subsequent death of her grandfather, George III, she became third in line to the throne. Victoria's position became secure following the deaths of Prince Frederick, George IV. Her uncle William IV became king. However, William publicly expressed his hope of living until Victoria turned 18 to avoid a regency. Victoria's childhood was marked by strict isolation under the Kensington system, a rigid set of rules imposed by her mother and Sir John Conroy, who control her. Victoria's education included languages like French, German, Italian, and Latin, but she spoke English at home. Her only companions were her mother, her dolls, and her beloved King Charles Spaniel, Dash. Despite the restrictions, she showed creativity, writing and illustrating a story, The Adventures of Alice Lascelles, at age 10. In 1836, Victoria's Uncle Leopold, now King of Belgium, arranged a meeting between Victoria and his nephew Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, hoping to secure their marriage, where Victoria was immediately taken with Albert, praising his looks, kindness, and character in her diary. At 17, she admired Albert, but was not yet ready for marriage. Victoria became Queen of the United Kingdom on 20th June 1837, just weeks after her 18th birthday, avoiding a regency. Her accession marked the end of Britain's personal union with Hanover due to Salic law, which barred women from the Hanoverian throne. As a result, her uncle Ernest Augustus became King of Hanover, and Victoria ruled the United Kingdom alone. Upon her accession, Victoria was politically inexperienced and heavily influenced by Lord Melbourne, who became a mentor and father figure. To her, she had a grand coronation at Westminster Abbey on 28th June 1838, which drew over 400,000 visitors to London. As queen, she moved into Buckingham Palace, becoming its first royal resident, and managed to pay off her father's debts through financial prudence. In 1839, after Melbourne's government fell over a Jamaica bill, Victoria asked Robert Peel to form a government. However, a conflict known as the bedchamber crisis emerged when Peel insisted on replacing Victoria's Whig-aligned ladies of the bedchamber with Tory support. Victoria refused, leading to Peel's resignation and Melbourne's return. Between 1840 and 1850, Victoria survived several assassination attempts, which only boosted her popularity. She also navigated the challenging transition from Melbourne's Whig government to Peel's Conservative administration in 1841, highlighting her struggle to balance personal loyalty with constitutional duty. Victoria's marriage to Prince Albert in 1840 transformed her personal and political life, although she quickly fell deeply in love with Albert, who became her closest companion and a key political advisor. Their marriage also allowed Victoria to distance herself from her controlling mother. The couple had 9 children between 1840 and 1857. Albert became heavily involved in the management of the royal household. Victoria's reign was marked by her support for social reforms, including the repeal of the Corn Laws in 1846 under Peel's government. However, the Irish Great Famine, 1845-1849, severely damaged her reputation in Ireland, where she was criticized as the Famine Queen. Although she personally donated to famine relief, the British government's response was widely seen as inadequate. Internationally, Victoria and Albert promoted better Anglo-French relations, making state visits to France and hosting French leaders in England. These diplomatic efforts were strained by the 1848 European revolutions and later by the Crimean War, 1853 to 1856, in which Britain and France were allies against Russia. In her later years, Victoria faced growing family challenges, including the marriages of her children into European royal families, which expanded her influence but also created emotional strain. Her eldest daughter, Victoria, married Prince Frederick William of Prussia. The departure of her daughter to Germany was a source of deep personal grief for Victoria. After the death of her mother in 1861, Queen Victoria entered a deep period of mourning. The loss of her mother, combined with the death of her beloved husband, Prince Albert, just months later, left her devastated. She wore black for the rest of her life and withdrew from public life, earning the nickname Widow of Windsor. This seclusion, marked by her increasing isolation at royal residences, her seclusion led to a rise in Republican sentiments, but Victoria continued to fulfill her royal duties in private. The only bright spot in her personal life was her close relationship with John Brown, her manservant, which sparked rumors of a romantic connection. After the Indian Rebellion of 1857, India came under direct British rule, and in 1876, Queen Victoria was declared Empress of India. She viewed the empire's expansion as a civil mission. Despite personal losses, including the death of her daughter Alice and her close servant John Brown, but Victoria remained politically active. She supported Disraeli's imperial policies, faced assassination attempts, and continued her public duties, becoming a symbol of the British Empire's global reach. Victoria did make some public appearances by attending the State Parliament in 1866. During her time of mourning and political upheaval, the Republican movement in Britain gained momentum, and a failed assassination attempt in 1872 further fueled public interest in the Queen's private life. By the end of the 1870s, her position as monarch was once again secure, and she emerged from this period of isolation with renewed strength. In 1887, Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee marked 50 years of her reign with a grand celebration attended by 50 kings and princes. Among the notable developments during this time was her friendship with Abdul Karim, an Indian servant who became her munshi, teacher, and close confidant. A decade later, in 1897, Victoria's Diamond Jubilee celebrated her 60th year as queen, making her the longest reigning British monarch at that time. The Diamond Jubilee became a global celebration of the British Empire, with prime ministers from the self-governing dominions attending. The event featured a grand 6-mile procession through London, showcasing troops from across the empire and concluding with an open-air service at St. Paul's Cathedral, where Victoria, now 78, received a massive outpouring of public affection. In her final years, Queen Victoria's health declined significantly. Despite her declining condition, she maintained her royal duties as much as possible. In January 1901, feeling increasingly weak and disoriented, she passed away at the age of 81, surrounded by her family, including her son, the future King Edward VII. Victoria had planned her funeral meticulously, requesting a military ceremony and choosing white as the primary color, reflecting her role as a soldier's daughter and head of the army. She was buried in St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, and interred beside her beloved Prince Albert at the Royal Mausoleum in Frogmore. With a reign lasting 63 years, she was the longest reigning British monarch. Her reign coincided with the transition to a constitutional monarchy, where the monarchy became more symbolic, emphasizing moral values and family life. Victoria's influence extended beyond politics, shaping a family-oriented image of the monarchy that resonated with Britain's growing middle class, setting a standard for the royal family era. Queen Victoria earned the title Grandmother of Europe because many of her descendants married into European royal families. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of From her unexpected rise to the throne to her profound influence on Britain and the world, Victoria's reign was a time of transformation. Her legacy continues to shape our history, from the royal families of Europe to the values and traditions of the modern British monarchy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories.